clean. So you can pin that, if all of you could just pin that, the one which has the paper, the palette, and the water pot in my hand. So we can just look at that the whole time. Okay, great. Richa, can I just see what set you have? Watercolor set, can I just see which one you have?
I don't have the watercolor ones, but I have these like these ones.
What are those? Hold on. Poster colors. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You'll just have to use them as
So
watercolors.
I'll probably get them by like next class. So
Okay.
just
No,
I
no
think
problem.
yeah.
It should still serve you the same way. Hi, Sana.
Hello.
Hi, Sana. I'll need you to join 5 minutes before every
Yeah,
week.
sorry.
Okay. No problem. We're just starting now. So I was just saying, can you pin the screen which says screen? If everybody could do that. Let's take our fattest brush and let's take the color Prussian blue, which is the darkest blue in your set. We're starting with just a preparation of one sheet right now, and then we're going to let this dry while we work on another one. Let's take Prussian blue, a fairly decent amount of it in our palette. Maybe let's take a bit more because we need to cover the entire sheet. Prussian blue. And let's add quite a lot of water to it. So I've put about 7 brushfuls of water and nicely break down the paint so that it's smooth and even without any lumps. It needs to be watery, slightly thinner than a poster paint consistency, but not so watery that it is transparent. So about 6, 7 large brushfuls of water, nicely mix it in. What we're going to do now is simply fill up the entire sheet as evenly as possible with your fattest brush. If you have a flat brush, you can also use that. But I want that you all leave like a 0.5 centimeter border on all sides. So I'm going to just start so you can watch. So you see I'm leaving a little space all over. It's a lovely royal blue. And then without drawing any lines, with your own assessment, if you can just leave a 0.5 centimeter border on all sides, and just pull the paint down as evenly as possible. As I said, we're just prepping one sheet so that when this dries, we can work on something else. If you run out of paint, you can always make more. It's okay if the edge is a little wobbly. So try not to pull it too far down. Do shorter strokes, but more even, so that it blends in well. A little patchiness is fine, it's not a problem. You might notice that the paper is starting to lift a little, warp in the center because of the moisture from the paint, it's fine. Just keep a finger down and hold it down for the time being. It will curl up. That's the nature of watercolor and watercolor handmade paper. You can make more paint if you've run out of it. Fill up any little white dots that there may be. And you can place it aside. Is that fine? Any difficulty for anyone? So those of you absolutely new to watercolors, when the paint dries, it becomes slightly lighter than what you had started with. Just keep that in mind. It gets slightly lighter than what you began with once it dries. So far, so good? Okay. Those who are done, you can keep it aside. And let's take a fresh sheet of paper. Hazel, you're done with the blue? Okay. Sana, are you still working? Okay, no problem. Seher, you done? Okay. Let's all take a pencil and get ready. So we're starting with a very simple color blocking, color understanding, how much water to use in your paint while we use watercolors. Watercolor is all to do with how much water and how much to wait before the water dries that you add more paint, right? So we're going to do a very small, easy, simple exercise, but it turns out to be quite fun. So you can do variations of it. I've done this with the children as well. And it's a nice way to understand the medium. Sana, let me know once you're done. Those of us who are ready. So starting from the corner left, let's draw sort of very lightly. Guys, I'm pressing my pencil only so that you can see it. Very lightly, I want you all to draw circles. It doesn't need to be perfect. They can be a little irregular, sort of boulder, stone-shaped circles, such that we have about 12 on a sheet. Let it get a little cut on the sides. Please draw very lightly. You should barely be able to see your lines because it's quite ugly when you see lines peeping through a very translucent watercolor. I'm pressing it dab just for your convenience. Approximately the same size. The shape can alter, it's not a problem.
I finished.
Okay, so now you can jump in and draw these circles, about 12 of them. Keep them very light as possible. Okay. If you're done drawing the circles, let's just take a 3-color palette. So one is black, yellow ochre, and burnt sienna. Richard, you have the same shades in your poster color? Should, I think. Black, yellow ochre, and burnt sienna. Now, when you put paint in your palette, please understand that watercolor goes a very long way. You need very little paint, and this will last you a very long time. So much so I don't wash my palette because I can resuscitate it by just adding water to it. Unlike acrylic, where you just have to peel it off. So watercolor, I like to use it quite quite frugally. So just a dot of black. You see how little black I've put? You can add more later, but for the time being, just a little dot. Sana, can you hold up your watercolor set so that I can see which one you have? The 24 shade? Yeah, okay, great. And the same for the ochre. And the same for the sienna. Very little. Let's take a medium-sized brush.
What size brush?
Medium, like number 6, number 7 is good.
Round?
Yes, round. Okay. Now, in this black slot, I've just added some water and I'm just touching upon that paint and I've made it very dilute, very, very dilute. So just a dot of black into a bit of water. I've kept it very, very watery and dilute. I've only colored the water literally. Take any circle of your choice and we're going to give it a little wash with this nearly invisible color. We can pick 2-3 circles to do the same. You know what, I'm going to erase my lines. I hate seeing dark lines. Try to keep it within the lines, please. Now, when you apply the paint, see if you can get even a slight variation within that circle. So the first one I did is absolutely flat. The second one has a little bit more tonal quality. The third one has a lot more. And how is that achieved? By just adding more of the solution into this wet space. So you have both light and dark within the same space. The whole beauty of watercolor is literally to work with light and dark. Otherwise, we'd be using poster paint and making absolutely flat images. But what's nice about watercolor or the aquarelle technique is that you keep in mind the light and dark. So from one color, one is able to create several shades and several tones. Now, if you're done with that, pick any circle of your choice and fill it only with plain water. Be careful it doesn't go out of the line. The paint is sensitive to water. Literally, it catches on wherever there is water. So be very careful that it's nicely within the line, it's not spilt out. Wet one circle, any one circle. Now I want you to add a bit more black to your solution. Make your solution a bit darker this time. And drop the black into the space and let it do its own thing. Just drop. What you can do is you can tease it such that it reaches the edges. So see to it that your edges are not left white. Just tease it with the water in your brush. Tease it with the water that is in the space so that your edges are not left white. It has some pigmentation. So this is a typical technique that's used in watercolor where the surface is first wet and then you drop pigment into it and then you let the water carry the pigment and let it create its own little dance. We can do this for one more space. Pick any other space you like. Apply water generously. And then drop the pigment right in the center or somewhere else, anywhere else you feel like, and let it explode. Then you tease it such that all the spaces around gets at least a little shading and the edges are not left white. Now I'd like you to do the same with the yellow ochre and the burnt sienna. So pick any circle, wet it. First, of course, add water to your yellow and to your sienna, and pick 2 or 3 circles where you can drop the paint and try and get variation within the same circle. But please leave at least maybe 2 circles empty, because I want you to mix yellow and ochre and see what also happens. So let's start with either the burnt sienna or the ochre. Dilute the paint slightly. Wet the surface first. And then see what tones you can get within that circle. Can you make a shade by mixing ochre and sienna? Can we maybe have the pigment outside this time? And then what happens when you mix a little black with the ochre? What shade do you get? So last 2, 3 circles, I would like you to play with the 3 different colors that you have. You can maybe drop a little bit of the 3 different colors, or you can mix the colors in your palette and then drop it. What happens when you drop a solid black into a yellow space? So make use of the fact that some of your circles are currently wet and it's about to dry. So if you were to drop some darker color into that space, how would it react? You'll get another pattern. You can make tiny dots as well if your paint is almost dry. Let me know if you've all finished the 12 circles. Okay. Let's keep it aside. If you finish, let's keep it aside. We're going to come back to it once it's dry and then work on it further. All of our compositions would look different from each other because although we're using still the same 3 shades, but that's absolutely fine. We're going to tie it all up together in the next step. But let's keep this away to dry and bring our blue composition back. Now you'll notice that the paper is warped a little, Seher. So you can just, bend it backwards and see if you can flatten it as much as possible. After class, I suggest that everybody puts it under some sort of weight, and then it'll absolutely just flatten out by tomorrow, or even within the next few hours. Sana, you done? Okay, you can put it away and bring the blue composition. Hazel, are you done? Yes. Rupal as well? Finishing up? Do we all have the white pen with us? Anybody who does not have?
I don't have it.
Oops, Sana, were you supposed to come and borrow it from me?
I think so.
Oh no, even I forgot. I was thinking of only the kite paper. Okay, let's do one thing. Sana, I suggest, sorry, put you on mute. Okay. Okay, I suggest what you do is take a pencil and draw for now, okay? And come around later and pick up auntie's white pen. I've got a lot of spare ones. Yeah, you can come and take. But for the time being, just draw with a pencil. The rest of us, I'm not going to give you that opportunity to draw with a pencil. I want you to get into the hang of drawing directly without fear. Okay. Let's take our white pen. It is a foliage class, so most of our references are going to be with nature and leaves and flowers and organic forms. Rupal, are you done with the circles? Sorry, I didn't mean to rush you. All right. So you can wait a little and watch where my lines are going, but it's a very simple line drawing with pen. Please, everybody, just give your pens a little shake and test it at the side that it's running well. Sumer, I have class. It makes no sense if you talk to me in the middle. Sorry, my son's negotiating. Okay, let's start. So a little off-centered, not right in the center, but a little off-centered. We're going to draw a branch. Just wait a little, perhaps my hand might be blocking your view. Okay, a Y-shaped branch, one a little taller than the other. Can we do that? It might be a little tricky to draw on paint. So don't try to run your pen too fast. Do it slowly, it will catch. If you've got your preliminary drawing done, oops. You can just darken this Y stem a little bit. Darken it meaning brighten it. Rupal, are you there? By making the line slightly thicker and brighter. Fine. Now, if you're done with that, we can start with the leaves. The leaves have got veins that run parallel to it. And two veins inside. You can take your composition different from mine. It's absolutely fine. Perhaps you might have to add a few more leaves here and there or reduce considering the space on your paper. Try to end your lines together. Don't leave them open or don't go out of the leaf. Try to end them together neatly. The leaves get smaller as it goes towards the tip. It's a very simple composition. I like playing with watercolors, even to just color block, work with a little bit of pen, adding some textures, and they make such pretty little gifts to give away or even greeting cards sometimes. So I love working with watercolors. There is so many possibilities. You can use them as gouache, which is what we've done here. It's quite opaque. It's not very translucent. And you can also use them as aquarelle. You can omit a leaf or two here and there. It's fine. You can maybe even tuck one behind the other. Simple enough. So now just draw very lightly. Yeah, you can come and take the pen later. And if you're done, you can just sign it off. Or if you like, you can add more elements to it. Flowers, butterflies, anything you feel like. You can completely fill up the space. But I kind of like this negative space working. If any of you are done, I would suggest you go change your water and come back with fresh water. Richa, are you done with the blue composition? Can I see, please? Could you hold it up? Lovely. Are you pleased with that?
Yes.
All right. Trina, can I see yours? Lovely, Trina. Hazel, Seher? Yes, thank you, Seher. Very nice.
I forgot to leave the top.
Top, what, blank is it? The border. That's okay. That's all right. Rupal, you done? Nearly? Okay. Fine. Shall we bring our previous composition back? Now, this is just the base that we have created. Now we're going to add the interesting stuff to it. You can get as creative as you like. The only thing I'd like to say is keep it, I mean, use your lines. Huh? So what I'm trying to say is use black, use white. So put out a little black and white in your palettes and think of creative ways you can use black and white in the form of lines or dots to fill each of these little universes and give it a little um, life. So for example, now I would like you to all use your finest brush. So number 0 or number 1 would be ideal. This time we are going to use black, far more powerful. So less water, more pigment. And something as simple as, okay, be careful if you have spaces that are still wet, that you don't smudge your hands. But as simple as tiny dots like this can be one of the circles. But when you do it, really take your time and do it meticulously so that your dots are nice and even. They're not smudged. Use the tip of the brush, point your brush. I'm just going to do a little bit on everything so I can give you a few ideas, but please feel free to create your own designs.
Did excuse me? Did you say you have to outline the circles?
No, no, no.
No. Okay.
No. We're just working inside each circle with a pattern of or line work of some sort. Yeah. So you can have dots in one, you could have triangles in another. You could have anything related to nature. You might have leaves, seeds. You might have starbursts. You could create your own, or if you like, you can pick up ideas from the screen. I like doing this little mesh pattern. So you're just bringing a little interest within each of these spaces. So if you have a light background, you can use black. If you have a dark background, you can use white. Try to use the lines as thin and delicate as possible. The finer it is, the nicer it is. So really point your brush, roll it in the pigment before you use it. Add enough water so that the paint runs easily. Are you all able to come up with lines and dots and patterns? Any difficulty? Okay. You can get as creative as you like. I'm just working only with lines and dots with this one. It's also a good exercise to get into the hang of using your brush very, very delicately, using the tip so that the detailing can be done. If you like, you can use your black pen. I didn't give the option earlier, but if you like, you can use the black pen. If you want to make something very, very fine and you need a steadier hand, you can always use a black pen. I have a little homework exercise for everybody to do. I want you to pick any 2, 3 colors. So like today we've picked black, ochre and brown. You can pick any other 3 colors that you think you'd like to work with as a family. It could be crimson, yellow, orange, or it could be in shades of blues and yellows, greens, anything that you feel like, something that complements each other. So if you like to do a family of cool colors or family of warm colors, any 3 colors, and create another one of these compositions, but detailing will be very different from this one. So think of other ways of detailing it. So I'm going to share on the group 2, 3 different compositions in this format, where the detailing is different, the color combination is different. In some compositions, I have colored the background as well, and also patterned the background. It's just a really nice exercise to understand watercolors, how much colors, how much water is required, how much pigment needs to be mixed in order to get a certain effect, for it to bleed, for it to stay opaque, for it to be translucent. So I'd like you to all to try at least 1 or 2 more of these compositions, but in a different color palette. That's the homework for the week. And you will have fun. I promise you will have fun. Once you start, it's quite addictive. Okay, can I come around and take a look at everybody's work? Who would like to start first? Yes, Hazel. Hazel, just hold it back a little. It's glaring a lot. Take it back just a little. Or maybe just change the angle of the paper the other way, I think, Hazel, because it's glaring. Can you bring it forward? Yeah, nice. Hazel, I like you to use your brush. I like you to use the paint for the detailing. Your backgrounds are fine. For the detailing, I like you to use the paint a bit more opaque and stronger so that the forms can be seen more vividly. Okay, so if you'd like to go over the lines, you could do that. Sahel, can I come to you? Sahel, can you bring it closer, please? Okay, it's a little blurred. Maybe you can send me a picture. Oh, yes, I can see. Yes, yes. Thank you, Sahel. Trina, can I come to you?
Yeah, I'm not done though.
Not done yet. Yes, but I can see it. I would like you all to send me pictures later. Very nice. Thank you, Trina. Richa, can we see? Oh, yes. Yes, Richa, I can see you got some nice stuff happening. Great. Thank you. Try to maintain that translucency in the background, okay, Richa? Where some spaces are left watery and then you drop the color and you let the color spread on its own.
Okay.
Rupal, can I come to you? Oh, yes, I can see that. Thank you, Rupal. And Sana? Hold it back, Sana. Good job. Yes. Also start using white. All right. And I'm going to post 3-4 compositions. Do have a look. Those compositions have less of the sort of sticks and stones kind of effect. It's got more to do with nature and leaves and um, um, symbols from nature. So try to start developing a different vocabulary. So these 8 sessions, not only would I be showing you some techniques, but I also want that each of you develop your vocabulary in expression, you know, so that some towards the end of the class when we do some creative compositions, you all are by then quite comfortable using symbols that you can pick up from nature and, you know, simple symbols. You know, you turn a line this way, that way, and you get something absolutely new. So start developing that I form. Very simple forms. Even just look at your mehendi patterns. They're just full of symbols from nature. So let's start developing that eye for it and expressing it through the artworks. Of course, some classes are going to be purely technical on how to, you know, paint very typical watercolors, but I also want that creative angle also comes in at the same time. Okay, ladies, I will see you next week. Same place, same time. Please do the homework I sent and send me images. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
So
Thank
we,
you. Bye.
Nina, 1 minute. We have to
Yes,
bring
yes.
our homework back
So
next
much.
week.
Bye.
Send me a picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of this, what we have done today,
This
as well
as well as the homework. Yeah. Sana, you'll come around later and pick up the pen? Yes? All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.